Hi kids! So we're back with another common errors video. So I have the second student sample that I took and we're going to work on trying to improve that one. So this particular sample, I know it's kind of tiny, but I had to take a screenshot because this student actually made a cute little newspaper, which kudos for that. They try to make it look authentic, but we want to make sure that we're actually writing a nice, thorough narrative news story. And remember, we can't just give the 5 W's, we have to actually create a story. And elements of a story require that we have a good setting, that we give character motivations, and we also, as journalists, we write in the third person. So for this particular piece, this one happens to be written in first person instead of third person, and while the writer does do a good job of focusing on the particular event, we don't have that motivation, that understanding of what might have caused the particular incident to happen, the background information, so we need to have that. Now, obviously, since I was not the particular student who saw this, the details that I add in are just me putting in details to try to show you how to add them in. Unfortunately, my details are not the real details, which we would definitely need in writing narrative nonfiction. But I want to help out, so I want to show how to do this, because this student did a great job of focusing in on the event, but they need to add more to help us out with that, and they need to take out of first person and go to third. So let's read it and see what I mean. 2 students, a boy and a girl, names not available, were seen getting into a fight. The boy called the girl annoying, and all of a sudden she slapped the boy as hard as she could. After she slapped him, he had a huge handprint across his red, swollen face. The girl just stood there smiling. The audience behind her, which were her friends, sat there in laughter and shock. I did the same too. This all took place in our middle school cafeterias towards the middle, where all the popular kids sat. No one saw the girl slap the boy, only her audience of friends and my news crew. The 2 kids were in 6th grade when this happens, and they are now ignoring each other. Okay, so we need to set the context first. It's jumping right into the particular scenario. So before we can just jump into 2 students we're seeing getting into a fight, we want to take this 6th grade and the cafeteria part, and we want to actually set the stage here. Remember, setting gives us both time and place. We don't always have to have the particular day, but it is helpful whenever we know it, especially for a news story, because then you wouldn't want to say, yesterday this happened, if you're writing in a news story, because what if someone reads your article 3 or 4 days later, or it gets archived and someone can look it up in a couple of years from now, and then they don't have the particular date. So that's always a smart idea to put into a news story. So we can say Wednesday, October 5th, 2016 was an average day at Eyre Middle School in Kunji, PA. The day had been pretty uneventful up until the altercation. Now I chose to use altercation because, as we had talked about with our Making Writing Powerful, we want to use a couple grace notes, those what I call those $5 words, every so often to just jazz up our writing. So that one's the one that I'm going to put up in there. So anyway, the day had been pretty uneventful up until the altercation that took place in the midst of the cafeteria. Oops. During 6th grade lunch. So now I've set the stage. Now my reader's thinking, oh my gosh, what was this altercation? Let me keep reading. So we start a new paragraph. How exactly it began is controversial, with different accounts from different eyewitnesses. But most students agreed that they saw a 6th grade boy whose name could not be identified start calling a young girl names in the middle of the cafeteria. Now, the middle of the cafeteria is where all of the cool kids, I'm going to put that in quotes, cool kids sit. And so it got their attention quickly. I want to see what this is saying. I'll just make that one word instead of a hyphenated word. And so it got their attention quickly. So now I know that I've got the background here. The boy called the girl annoying. I didn't get into the slapping yet. Witnesses said the boy told the girl that she was annoying, which, while it isn't a kind thing to say, no one expected her reaction to be as swift or as volatile, another one of those grace notes, as it was. She simply turned toward him and struck him across the face with all her might. He was left shocked and in pain with a huge handprint across his red, swollen face. So I finished that there using a lot of the details, the really good details that our writer put into his or her account, but I added a lot of elaboration. So now you get more of a mental picture of what was going on. So, another thing, if you notice, was that I had taken, this all took place, and that stuff right at the beginning, so that way I don't have to do it here at the end. What we can do, though, is we want to also make sure our author had put it in first person, but only towards the end here, so we're just going to avoid that completely. The two kids were in 6th grade when this happened, and now they're ignoring each other. So from here, I don't exactly know how I want to end it right now, but again, it's not my piece to end, so I think that's a good spot for me to just stop and share, and that way the actual author of the piece can take on some of these suggestions and can try to wrap it up with what he or she knows happened next. So we're going to end this right now so I can move on to our next piece. I hope this has been helpful because I like to actually show you how to improve your own writing, not just give you my own examples of things.